Hi, I'm Paul Chartier. Thanks for tuning in to Heart of Gold. I've got two lovely ladies with us this month from Ashland Terrace. Kelly Weber, the Executive Director, and resident and volunteer Flo Mayer. How are you?
Fine, thank you. We're glad to be here.
Thanks for coming in. Ashland Terrace is a little nugget of beautiful campus in Chevy Chase that people can drive by. They probably don't know it's there. Kelly, tell us about the great things that happen at Ashland Terrace.
There are a lot of great things. Over the years it's transitioned some, but currently we have 35 residents, all ladies, and the services that we provide, although we're independent living, we provide meals, transportation, housekeeping, linen service, and of course a lot of activities and outings. One of our biggest features is probably our cutting garden, which our residents love, but also the public can come and cut flowers anytime.
Is that where those came from?
Yes.
Well, they are beautiful.
Thank you.
The retirement world right now is kind of crazy, confusing, you know, with assisted living and this kind of, explain how you are different than the rest of those.
So being independent living in the state of Kentucky, that means that our residents need to be able to function independently. And for our purposes, that means make it to meals on their own 3 times a day, be able to take care of themselves in their room. And then, you know, the other levels of care that are around the state, assisted living, personal care, they offer more care than what we do.
For the ladies that are residents, how do they find out about it? And then when they're there, if they get to the degree that they surpass the services you can provide, then what happens?
How do they find out about us?
Yes.
A variety of ways. Sometimes family members, sometimes home health, physicians, friends. I think our residents, and Flo is one of our biggest marketers, they are out in the community quite a bit, you know, at a variety of places and spread the word about us. So we acquire new family members, new residents through all of those avenues.
Flo is kind of chomping at the bit.
I know.
To kind of get her face on TV.
Yeah.
Well, you know, you asked how do people know about Ashland Terrace? Would you believe I lived in the late 60s up the street on South Ashland Avenue, did not know that Ashland Terrace was up there on the hill, that what it was. And it wasn't until 2006, that fall, after my sweet husband had passed away, had his birthday into eternity in August, and a special group that I belong to in Lexington, PEO, my chapter had a program at Ashland Terrace. And we had the program because Rick McGee, our then executive director, had written this book with several of our ladies, Harmony Hall, and she was the program. And so we met there to hear her and to explore the facilities, and I thought, you know, this is a good place for me to be aware of so that down the road I won't be a burden to my children. And so I asked for an application, and when I turned it in to Rick and Kelly, who was just really coming on board then as her assistant, do you need any volunteers? And Rick said, yes, we would love to have a volunteer. So for 5 years, before I ever moved into Ashland Terrace, I was a volunteer on Tuesday afternoons. I went and ate lunch with the ladies at 12:30, enjoyed the good food and the beautiful staff and a happy place. And then I would, I say man the phones, I was like the afternoon receptionist and answered the phone and relayed phone calls and answered the back door for visitors. So it gave me a chance to get acquainted with the place.
So after 5 years, it takes you a little time to finally agree to do something. You finally joined the residents at Ashland Terrace.
Well, it became apparent that fall, yes, or that winter, maybe that I should do that in the summer. So in 2011, it took me about 3 months to move in because I lived out here in Greenbrier, and I downsized from 13 rooms to 1.
Wow.
So that was a real challenge, but I had lots of good help.
And for people that downsize, it can be done in a respectful way.
Yes. And there's family members to help, there's Ashland Terrace people to help, there are community services like Caring Transition that helped me pull things together and sell things that my children didn't want. So there are all kinds of helps out there if people will just inquire.
A typical resident, or is Flo one of a kind?
Well, we have a lot of great residents. She's definitely really special, but we do have a lot of special ladies.
So these women live on campus all the time. For activities, what do you do to keep them energized and enthusiastic?
Whatever they want to do. So kind of with whatever the majority wants to do. Anything from having devotions for those that want to attend, to group crossword, group discussion, exercise class, bingo. I know it's kind of stereotypical, but we have a large amount that enjoy bingo, amazingly. We go on a lot of outings. I was trying to come up with a good list. Beaumont Inn, Berea, Shaker Village, Keeneland.
We've been to the park, I'm having a senior moment. The Natural Bridge.
Oh, Natural Bridge.
We've done that a couple of times. This afternoon, a group of us went to Ruth Hunt and had iced tea and their chocolates.
They invited us over. They're very kind to us.
Yeah, we think about getting old and kind of rusting out, and then you see Flo. And my dad's the same way. 5 days a week during the week, he's out working in the yard. Weekends, he's singing in the choir.
Good for him.
But you've got 30 women that are doing the same thing at Ashland Terrace.
Yeah, yes and no. We have a good, a variety. Some are more able at this stage in life to do as much as Flo does, and some are not quite as able due to some physical limitations, but they're still able to enjoy a lot of the amenities that we offer, including the garden, which is accessible and paved, and there are raised beds, so they can get out there fairly easily. For
the people watching, we always want to give the opportunity to volunteer. What do you do to elicit volunteers?
A lot of word of mouth, but our volunteers do a variety of things, from manning the phones, as Flo says, being a receptionist because we don't have a receptionist on staff, to calling bingo. I have 5 regular bingo callers weekly. And then we have volunteers who have cleaned bird cages. We just have a variety. So we're glad to talk with anyone that wants to get involved.
And I know you've only had limited rooms, and not until something opens up can someone else come in. But Flo, for the people that don't know about Ashland Terrace, what would you tell them?
Oh, be aware we're there, first of all, and investigate, and trust that the time for you to come is going to be there. We have a waiting list, but that doesn't mean that when the waiting list is gone down, that some people are able to come. They aren't ready to move. I was on the waiting list for, as I say, 5 years, and the staff knew I wasn't ready to come until the end of that 5 years. So it's really, for me, it was a God thing. And the timing is important. And I've watched, and it seems it's that way for lots of people. And we do right now have a room or two available. So that is very unusual, but a blessing for somebody who needs a room.
It seems that the garden is a centerpiece of your campus and your property. How come?
We have historically, as far back as we can read, even 1907 board minutes, had a garden. And the residents worked in it, staff worked in it. When Rick was hired, Rick McGee, our former executive director, was hired in '91, she took over that garden, and it's been her baby ever since. When we expanded and renovated in '99 and 2000, she renovated that garden, of course, with a lot of support, to what it is now, which is a beautiful, accessible community gathering place. So I think it is really important for our residents. They can come, they can go out anytime, cut flowers, bring them to their room for no charge. For the community, they can come anytime, cut flowers for a minimal charge, and just kind of have a place to meditate in the middle of the city.
We have 3 ponds, a koi pond, fish pond, which is a larger one, and 2 smaller goldfish ponds with benches in front of them. And so mothers that live around us will bring their toddlers and to see the fish.
Isn't that cute?
And to enjoy.
So it really is a merging of generations.
Generations, and for our residents, I think, and Flo can maybe, hit on this or not, but for our residents to feel part of the community and the community to feel as though we're part of the community. We're not just a big retirement home in the middle of Chevy Chase.
You've got people going out and doing things.
We've got people going out and doing things, and we have the community that comes in. A lot of our neighbors, several of them volunteer. We try to be very involved.
Well, we have a neighbor up the street on South Ashland Avenue, and she comes and volunteers one afternoon to call bingo.
Let's give her website and phone number.
Sure. The website is ashlandterrace.org. Phone number is 859-266-2581.
And Flo, you brought that book tonight. In the last few minutes, why is that book so important to you and to Ashland Terrace?
Well, because it really is kind of a neat record of incidents that have happened at Ashland Terrace. Rick decided a number of years ago, with the help of some women there, that they ought to begin to put down some of the funny things and exciting things that happened at Ashland Terrace. And so this is a fiction book, but the incidents in it very often are the ones that actually happened at Ashland Terrace. And of course, this is the book that, with her being the author and the program, that introduced me to Ashland Terrace. So to me, Harmony Hall is a very special book, and I'm grateful to the fact that she wrote it and had some help of some ladies to do it, or I might not have known about Ashland Terrace.
And what do you call the sorority house?
A senior sorority house.
And are any stories in there attributable to you?
No, because I wasn't here then. This was published in 2006, and I didn't learn about this place until 2006. So.
With that many women and other people like Flo, any mischief going on there that
A
you can
little
talk
bit.
about?
Oh. There's always mischief.
Yeah. Well, in the last minute, share with people why they need to come on your campus and experience Ashland Terrace.
From my viewpoint, I just don't know that there's another place like us. We're unique, that we're smaller with only 35 residents. We only have women. We're a nonprofit, so we're affordable because we have an endowment and we can subsidize. We have the garden, wonderful meals, wonderful residents like Flo.
It's a happy home.
Yeah.
Flo, it has been a delight to have you on the
Thank
program.
you. Thank you.
I wish you a long and happy retirement and days at Ashland Terrace.
Thank you. I will take that.
And Kelly,
Thank you.
as things shook out, I'm glad that you brought Flo with you tonight.
Yeah, me too.
I'm Paul Chartier. We'll be right back on Heart of Gold.